Thanks for joining us. We're going to be installing our quick performance 9-inch rear and our Willwood rear brakes. Stick with us and check it out. So Dustin and I are disassembling the factory 7.5-inch G-body rear end out of this car. Very easy to unbolt. We're just going to unbolt the lower trailing arms, upper arms, and disassemble our shocks on the bottom. We're just going to leave them hang, and that'll allow us to unbolt the factory rear out of there. We're going to drop it out of the car, out of the bottom. Luckily we have a lift, so we don't need to get jacks involved. We're actually just going to manhandle this and just carry it out of here. We've driven this car for quite a while with our factory kind of replacement setup, which is our stage 2 power tour package. And that's going to be fixed length upper and lowers with poly bushings on both sides. Makes for a great street car setup, but now that we're looking to put, somewhere in between 400 and 500 horsepower through this, we're looking to get something that'll hook up a little better. And as you can see, this car has factory drums, so we're definitely looking to move a little quicker in this, so we're going to put some Willwood brakes on here. Our quick performance 9-inch that's going to go in this car is going to have all the provisions to add those.
What are you doing that?
Put the new ones in.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we put a bunch of miles on this car with the factory rear and the factory replacement poly bushing trailing arms. We're gonna swap obviously to this quick performance rear end. So we're gonna replace the rear trailing arms with our adjustable roto joint style. That's not as harsh on the street as a rod end for more like racing, but more for a little bit of comfort and still be able to keep that power to the ground.
I'm here in front of the UMI 3037, which could be one of my favorite products. It's for the 1978 to 1988 GM G-body, trailing arm, roto joint, adjustable, heavy duty. So the roto joint is great for street and autocross and drag racing and road racing use. So it does everything really well. It has a double shear adjuster, so you crack the jam nuts, turn it on car to change your pinion angle and your lateral location. And of course the mount is heavy duty on the axle, so you're never gonna have any trouble with this product. On our Cutlass build, we pair these 3037s with the double adjustable roto joint 3043 rear lower trailing arms, which once again do everything right. They're race capable, street capable, and anything in between.
So Dustin loves to use this copper sealant, yet everything that he puts it on leaks. So if you have any insight as to your best options for sealing up a rear end, leave us a comment below and let us know what your thoughts are on sealing up one of these rears.
After we get that in, we're gonna knock the axle seals in. We're using a real nice seal set toolkit to get them in so we're not marring up the edges and beating them up. And then we can slowly put the axles in the housing and get the axle locks installed. So we got this brand new housing from Quick, and we wanted to figure out a nice clean way to attach our brake lines without putting holders and whatnot on it. We did just get it powder coated, so we didn't want to weld anything fast. We drilled 2 small little holes, little 3/16 holes into it, and made a little bracket to be able to attach the brake lines. So a nice clean look. And again, they had to ask me to swing the hammer, put these bushings in, because we know Dave cannot swing a hammer. See? Well, there you have it. Axles installed, chunk in the middle, and the bushings installed.
So this rear end's a little bit heavier, so we're just gonna set this rear on a cart and drop the car down on top of it. That's gonna make it a little easier on our backs. And we're running our 3054 brackets, which are coilover brackets specific for the G-body quick performance rear.
Part number 3054 fits quick performance axles only. So these two are General Motors axles only, quick only. Once again, it has additional ride height adjustability here. and you can adjust the trailing arm location here for drag racing. The Quick Performance guys build an excellent drag racing rear end.
So with those quick brackets added on the car, that gives us a lot better angle as far as the shock travel, and it also gives us some great clearance for exhaust, which we are going to run 3-inch true duals on this.
So when installing the rear sway bar of this Quick Performance 9-inch, we could use an extra set of hands, even though there is a couple extra sets of hands there. But to hold all the bracketry up and make sure it gets lined up to hold the sway bar up, we just use some simple painter's tape to hold the brackets up to be able to get the sway bar onto the brackets and the U-bolts. And then what we're going to do is measure from the backing plates on the rear end housing to be able to center that up to make sure that the sway bar is centered on the housing. When in doing this, that allows you to be able to add your end links to the sway bar. Now this is our chassis mount sway bar, so we can flip those brackets up and put on the cross member and use a paint marker to mark our holes so that we know everything's centered and it's going to fit nicely underneath the vehicle. Now that we got our holes marked, we can drill those out and be able to mount that bracket included in your kit to the chassis. Then we have the sway bar hanging. We're able to flip our end links up, slide the bolts in, and that's pretty much finished up on the sway bar.
So we tend to run Willwoods on pretty much every vehicle we have here, whether it's race cars or just shop cars, street cars. So on this application, nothing too crazy, but we're gonna run 4-inch pistons on the rear. And we called our buds at Willwood and they got us a good setup to put on there. And we ran all new brake lines on this car. The factory ones were a little boogered up, and we just wanted something to look a little bit nicer and a little more suited to our application. So I like nickel copper lines, so that's what we ran on this car. Real easy to flare, real easy to run in whatever spot you need to put them in. And we tried to square it up, make them look real nice on this car. Big shout out to Josh at Operational Speed Supply. He hooked us up with some Redline synthetic fluids for this car. So we're gonna be running their synthetic oil, synthetic power steering fluid, also their rear end fluid and their brake fluid as well. Great stuff. If you have any cars or any builds that are in need, look up Josh at Operational Speed Supply. He will definitely hook you up. He's huge in the autocross community and we greatly appreciate the support. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Make sure you check out our build videos. We list them every month. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out umyperformance.com for all your performance suspension needs.